Hey, what's up, family? Be patient. Know this isn't the best light quality considering, I'm driving at night. But I want to speak to the struggle that you might be going through right now, or that you may go through. Here lately we've been talking about, perspective, and how having the right perspective can really serve you well mentally, emotionally, spiritually, or it could be that barrier. If it's broken, a breakdown could come through. And it's just understanding that, first of all, when we go through things, we have to look at, is it a series of decisions we've made? Is this the result of the decisions we've made over time? Understand, like this, the decisions that we make today, the decisions that we make today may not manifest tomorrow, or a month, or 2 months, or 3 months from now. It may manifest a year from now. But when it do, are we in tuned enough to assess the possible reason why we're going through what we're going through? Do we have the right perspective to do so? Or do we find ourselves so in this black hole of a space, if you will, to think rationally, to put some thought behind? Because we think about, dang, how can I get out of this? Like, I need to get out of this situation. But sometimes we need to identify the problem. Man, when I tell you the other day, God, like, okay, I can provide you this solution. But he didn't tell me that first. He gave me instructions. Like, this is what I need you to do. If you need this done, this is what I need you to do. So after, once I got to it and then did a breakdown, I looked at it. I'm like, wow. And he said, now I can and I will do this. But understand, this isn't going to solve the problem moving forward. It will serve you well now, but you still have a problem on your hands. So we have to trace back, because yes, we need to get out of this. But if we don't identify what the problem is, we can just be putting a Band-Aid over it, or we can just be moving forward, not rectifying the problem, and then when it manifests itself again, we don't know how to respond or react to it. We don't know how to fix it, because we never addressed the root from the begin with. So we have to look at, is it a series of decisions that we've made over the years? Because, we have to look at what got us here in this situation, first off. And then we also must trace back for some years, especially if we find ourselves in the same predicament as we have been before, or always have been in the past. Now we got to look at those decisions too. Because what we're doing is we have to get to the root of it. And getting to the root of it also means looking at our habits, our unhealthy habits, our unhealthy practices. Because that could be a big problem too. In fact, that is the problem. Because we have unhealthy practices and unhealthy habits, we embracing them, and it's putting us in tighter spots every time. Whatever your issue may be right now, we have to look at the heart of it. We have to look at the root of it and figure out, is it something that I'm doing wrong? Because we can't go to God, hey, can you help me get through this? We can you help me fix this? But him being the Lord God and the all-knowing, and knowing we was going to go through this in life, he know that we must look at the problem first, address the root first, because he can deliver us, he can heal us, he can come through for us, he can give us a breakthrough. But if we don't know where we're going wrong and what we're doing wrong, chances are we're going to end up in the same situation a month from now, 6 months from now, a year from now. And we're going to be at his throne of grace again, which of course, because he wants us to come to his throne of grace. But we shouldn't be going to him for the exact same thing when it's something that we can fix. So we have to understand, we have to identify the why we're in what we're in. And then we must also understand that there are certain things in life we just must go through. We have to. Because even if it's due to our decision making, or it just happened, it was out of our control, it was just in his plan, there's still room for us to learn in those situations, from those experiences. And that's what helps us to grow. That's what helps us become wiser. And also it helps us develop with our character and growing spiritually, and like a number of things. Like it sucks, but it's beneficial. It's good for us. But if we don't have the right perspective while we're in it, while we're going through it, then what was meant to be for us in the future, it may not take its course, because we complained the whole time, because we looked at what we're going through and how sucky it is, and we just went throughout our storms as a victim instead of having the mindset of a victor. So oftentimes we don't learn the lessons while we're going through the storm. So it's all about perspective. How we're looking at what we're going through. How we're looking at what we're going through determines if we adapt the right mindset of not only I will get through this, but what are some things that I possibly did that got me in this, so I know not to make this mistake again. And it's also learning to trust God in the process. Being willing to do what it takes, being willing to put in the work, but it's learning to trust God. Even when we can't see Him, especially because we get a word from Him. We get a word from Him. We get instructions from Him. Some of us are obedient. Some of us are not. But it's like God just fall off the grid. Like, where is He? I can't hear anything. I don't see anything. He's not speaking to me now. Because that's kind of like where I am now. I'm like I need you to talk to me right now. Like, tell me something. Like, this is, you know what I mean? And I've done this several times within this past week. The other day, He gave me a play. My most recent, I need some guidance right now, was earlier. And what I can hear is the instruction He gave me, the play to run, is being obedient, not knowing the outcome, just trusting whatever He's telling me to do. It's for a reason, and it could possibly help where I am now. So it's learning to trust God enough to be obedient, even if we don't know the outcome. Even if we don't know the outcome, it's being obedient. Being obedient requires faith. We also believe that what He's telling us to do, that for one, it's for a reason, and two, that something will come of it. Now, the worst thing to do is put a timeline on it. We don't ever try not to ever put a timeline on it, because we disappoint ourselves in that moment. But just trust that it will go well for us. And all that comes back to the root of having the right perspective. Let's work on our perspective, no matter how hot the fire is, no matter how uncomfortable the situation is. Let's work on trusting Him. Trusting Him enough to where it gives us peace. Even when we can't understand it. Even when we can't understand the why. But trusting enough to have a level of understanding of this must happen. I'm in this for a reason. But having the right perspective to identify the problem and the root of why we are where we are. Finding out what that is, if it is something that we did. Looking at the practices and habits that we have, and not only change our decision making going forward, but doing everything we can and asking God to help us, even help us see the problem if we don't see it, help us see the unhealthy practices and habits if we can't identify them, but also doing the opposite of what we've been doing. The practices, the habits, the decision making, the decisions that we make. Asking Him to even give us His wisdom on to fix this. Or how do I go about changing this so I won't continue to go through this. And he'll do it because he wants us to do it. And he really want to be able to do it with us. A lot of us, we won't allow him in. He want to be able to do it with us. And he want to be able to do things for us. But because we're not willing to do what we're supposed to do and allow him to do life with don't allow him to do life with us, then it cuts off the him doing for us. It's all about perspective, how we view the situation, how we view our circumstances, how we view our life, understanding that there's much more, understanding that we was created to do more, but also having an understanding that we must grow and develop in these uncomfortable situations we find ourselves in throughout life. Again, whether we caused them or it's just something that was out of our control, it just happened to us. It is in those dark places, the valleys, the trials, the hardships, where growth and development transpire. But if we don't have the right perspective, we can't understand that. And we can't embrace the struggle as we are supposed to squeeze out of that struggle those gold nuggets that's hidden behind the scenes that will help us moving forward. So embrace the struggles, understand that you are in this for a reason, and this too shall pass. But having the right perspective helps us get through this thing once and for all. I love you guys. Stay blessed. Peace.